Here's something that caught our eye this morning. Aston Villa have announced that supporters on their waiting list for a season ticket can now earn loyalty points by attending Aston Villa women's home games. Now, there are around, and I must admit, I did a double take when I heard this, 45,000 people currently on the waiting list at Villa, and the update is designed to create a more meaningful connection between the fans and the wider Aston Villa ecosystem. It also ensures season tickets are prioritised for the most actively engaged supporters. I mean, where are both of you with that? I mean, Simon, should a supporter's loyalty be tested on how many WSL matches that they attend?
I suppose it's up to the fan base to decide, isn't it? I mean, we've seen examples that we put into this little editorial that various clubs have tried to ensure that there's an obligation upon fans if they buy a season ticket to attend some games in the WSL, and it's been pushed back against, and they've reversed out of it.
Yeah,
I mean, loyalty.
Bournemouth, they pushed back. That happened at Bournemouth.
That's you shouldn't compel people to do things, but ultimately, if people are supporting the club in all its facets, then if loyalty points are part of it, whether those loyalty points are redeemed against merchandise or whether they're redeemed in a priority position for season tickets, I think is a matter for the fan bases of themselves. I mean, I'd like to think that women's football will stand on its own 2 feet, create its own opportunities and be equally successful as the men's game based upon the fact that people want to watch it and they're not compelled to watch it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the club wanting its women's team to be successful. I don't think it's anything wrong with cross-pollination and cross-fertilising between the two teams. But if you start to make, if you're a season ticket holder that's watched the men's football team for 35 years and suddenly you find yourself in a situation where you're prejudiced by a person that's been a season ticket holder for 5 or 6 years that is prepared to go to the women's game because he enjoys it, then I'm not sure that's right.
Yes.
But I do understand the direction of travel.
I do. As the women's game is getting ever better, then as a spectacle, and I think if you're more actively engaged as a supporter, I think there is something in this. But if you've been on that waiting list, Jim, for 10 years, and suddenly now somebody else is going to get it for watching the ladies' team for 12 months, you're not going to be that happy, are you?
Well, that's right. I mean, the vast majority, without any disrespect to the women here, the vast majority of those buying season tickets or who are on that waiting list, 45,000 incidentally, are on the waiting list to see people like McGinn and Watkins and what they can do, both domestically and in Europe. That's why they're on the waiting list. That's what they want to watch. So as you say, Simon, if something else is introduced to that, and that same fan feels prejudiced against in terms of somebody jumping the queue because he'll go to 2 or 3 women's games, then surely that's wrong.
And now they're the same products. A lot of people I speak to say it's almost like 2 different sports. They think that men's football is quite different. I talk to women say to me, I only like the men's game. I don't really want to go to the ladies' game. But I think in time that will change, Jim. Do you know? So I suppose really you want to grow your football club. Look at Arsenal winning the European Cup. So Aston Villa will see that and say, well, okay, what's a quick way for us to try to get the fans in for the women's game? Because they're having to financially support that from the men's team.
Yeah. One thing that just surprised me, 45,000 on the waiting list.
For Villa.
Yeah. I mean, what does that tell us, Simon? If you are Suarez or Edens, you're thinking, good God, we're in a healthy state.
It tells us that Aston Villa should be developing the ground and making it ever bigger.
That's one thing it tells you. I mean, I don't know what the penetration of season ticket holders into Aston Villa. It might tell you that they may need to release more season tickets rather than trying to budget for a casual gate basis, which is a bigger return for them. That might be something they need to do as well. I don't know. I don't know what Villa do. I don't know whether they've got 80% uptake in season tickets. I don't know what they do, so I might be talking on the top of my head. But I also think that maybe the owners of the football club think that every aspect of it is a sum of all its parts.
Yeah.
So that the women's team is as important to the owners as the men's team. Nothing wrong with that. But I also think that people shouldn't be compelled into doing something if they don't wish to.
Yeah. You've always said, and Martin, you've been lucky enough to play for them. They were lucky enough to have you. But you've always said, Simon, Villa, one of the proudest, greatest names in English football. And it is. I remember doing an end-of-season Player of the Season dinner there quite a number of seasons ago now, though. And the thing was staged in the Holt End.
It's one of the oldest,
they built a stage in there. It was magnificent.
Built in the Victorian times. It's like, and then the ground now, it's time to develop it and to take it forward. Nothing's really happened too much to the ground. I know they moved one of the roads didn't they, many years ago?
Yeah.
But it's now time to make the next step, and that's down to the success on the pitch, Champions League football, which they just missed out on. I thought they were very unlucky as well to miss out on that.
It's a big club. It feels like it's got a club that's got expectation, even when it's had difficult times. You know, when Doug was there, quite surprising to a lot of people, I got on very well with him. But I always felt the scale of Aston Villa. I don't think, you can make the case that his achievements aren't quite where they could have been. Ultimately, winning the European Cup in '82 is a major benchmark.
Yeah.
But when you go to that club and you go to the other clubs in the Midlands, there is a difference between Villa and, with due respect, Birmingham.
Yeah.
In terms of the scale of that football club and the opportunity. So now they're back in the Premier League. They've got serious owners.
Yeah.
And they've got a good manager. So there's lots of opportunity for Villa.
Actually, Tom,